Like, my brother believes that there's a ghost haunting our house. Like, in his old room, he believes like a girl was murdered or something. It's really crazy, but I don't buy that story.
According to my dad, there's a lady who haunts our dining room, but I've never seen her. And there's this one spot in my bedroom, and there's just one spot on the floor where it's really warm. And my dad says that right under that spot on the dining room, that's where the lady appears. So,
a colleague of my mother's claims that she has a ghost in her house that haunts her, except it's not a negative ghost or a negative spirit. It just helps her around the house, supposedly.
When you die, I don't think anything happens to you. You just rot in a hole, and you'll be forgotten.
Now the excitement really begins. We are here at the Ghost Hunter Challenge. It's your challenge week, and all you guys, when we decided that we were going to do this, you wanted to make documentary film. So what we've come up with for you guys for the next 5 days is the Ghost Hunter Challenge. Are there ghosts in Toronto? There'll be 3 folks that are going to be our key ghost hunters, and you'll present your report on what you found. To begin, are all of you guys ready to do this?
Yep.
Okay, so let's begin with missions. Ghost Hunter 1, Fort York. So this ghost hunter will do some research and lead the interview at Fort York, talk to our guide, find out the history of Fort York, find out if there are any ghosts, and then take our camera crew out to that physical space to capture it. So who wants to be the Fort York Ghost Hunter number 1, and we're shooting that tomorrow morning. Okay, Andrew, you've got a role that sounds quiet, but keep your eyes open because there could be some surprises. Ghost Hunter 2, Casa Loma.
I'll do that.
Okay, so congratulations. Name?
Theo Landiger.
Theo Landiger. Your challenge will be you're going to do some research and take us into Casa Loma. Third, Mackenzie House.
I'll do it.
Okay. Name?
Ross Furman.
Ross. You're going to be our ghost hunter number 3. And that is going to William Lyon Mackenzie's house on Bond Street, apparently haunted, and checking out the history of the place, doing your interviews. On top of 3 ghost hunters, we've got our ghost hunter crew that's going to document the investigations. Justin, you all know, and Justin is going to be taking you out to all locations. Allison is someone we can go to for anything around content research. Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to assume that you're all ready to go and get started. Is that true? Can I just hear from you all? Yes, we're ready to go?
Yes, we're ready to go.
Okay. Good luck, Ghost Hunters, and we will see you Friday morning.
I can't really tell if I believe in ghosts or not. Like, right now, I really don't think there is, but, like, if I see something, then it might change my mind.
Well, I'm really excited, and I'm going to be trying hard to find the ghost. I mean, it'd be really cool to find one. I'm still doubtful that we will, but I want to.
I would be excited if we did see a ghost, but chances are not likely.
We might not see ghosts, but we would get a lot of different stories. But I also believe that we might capture something on camera or sound equipment.
Yes, it could be possible. be.
If we do find something exciting, I think it's going to change a lot of our beliefs. Out of everyone in the whole group, I think we're all going to be changed after this week.
Our search starts at Fort York, the place where Toronto began. Fort York was built by the British in 1793, following the American Revolution. Today, we'll meet our fort guide David and see if any ghosts are still lingering in the shadows of Fort York.
Hello, Andrew. My name is David.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
I'll be your host for your visit here today, so if you'd like to follow me, we're just going this way down the path.
Okay.
This is where the city began. Fort York is where the city of Toronto started. John Gray Simcoe and the Queen's Rangers came here.
Has there ever been a major loss of life here?
At the Battle of York, 78 British were killed at the battle, and roughly the same number of Americans.
Can you tell us an interesting ghost story about Fort York?
Actually, one of them begins in the building that we're in, so if you'd like to come with me, we'll just go on inside.
All right.
Captain Battersby was actually an officer who lived here. Well, the pride and joy of Captain Battersby's life is he owned 2 beautiful horses. And he was very worried what would happen to his horses. He didn't want to sell them. Here in Toronto, he was worried that somebody would mistreat them, and he loved his horses too much for that. So, according to the soldier stories, is he spent a lot of time sitting in here working out what he was going to do with his horses, and the day before he left, he came to a decision. He ordered 4 soldiers to take them to the graveyard, shoot them, and bury them. That way they'll never be mistreated. In the 1840s and 50s, a lot of people moved into the neighborhood around the graveyard. And as soon as people moved in, they started to complain that at night you can hear horses running down the street. The hooves of horses going down what's now Wellington Street in Toronto. So that's a true story that's become one of Toronto's oldest ghost stories.
Wow. That's interesting.
Something a little different.
Yeah.
It was raining and cold while we searched Fort York. It was very quiet. The only ghosts seemed to be our ghost hunter team and the fort staff, walking around alone in the rain. It was a cool place to visit, but kind of eerie when it's that quiet. As much as we tried, no ghosts came out to greet us. We saw a lot of the fort, but no ghosts. Maybe the old ghosts of Fort York will come out to see us next time.
So are you sure there's no ghosts here?
I've never seen a ghost, but it is a pretty spooky place, especially at night sometimes.
Yeah, it is really creepy.
Yeah, it takes a bit to get used to. Well, it was a real pleasure to meet you, Andrew. It was nice to meet all of you as well. I hope you enjoyed yourself here.
Okay, well, thanks for having us, and you were a great host.
Thank you. Enjoy. Come back again and visit us sometime.
Okay.
Our next stop is Castle Loma, built by Sir Henry Pellet. I am not easily impressed, but this place is pretty cool. Sir Henry made a fortune by building the power plant at Niagara Falls, and then built a huge castle to relax in. The place was started in 1911, but was never fully finished. We'll take a look around and see if a few active ghosts are still bothering the tourists.
Theo, right?
Yes,
My name is
Sue.
Rick.
Nice
Welcome
to
to
meet you.
Casa Loma.
Thank you.
Listen, I know you're here to hear about ghost stories, but I thought I'd just give you a little quick background first. This was the home of probably the richest guy in the country 100 years ago. Built the big electric power plant out in Niagara Falls. But what I really want to talk about are ghost stories at Casa Loma, because I think that's what you're interested in, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Where can we start?
Has anyone ever died here?
The only violent death we know of to have occurred here occurred in the 1930s when Casa Loma was abandoned for a few years. Kids used to break in at night. One kid made his way all the way up to the attic, but with no electric lights on, couldn't see where he was going. Took a wrong turn, went right down the elevator shaft. We have had people have weird experiences in the elevator, but that's not generally considered a ghost story.
So where can we find ghosts here?
Psychics will tell you that that's the haunted side of the building, the west side. People who work here at night, it's Lady Mary's sitting room on the second floor they talk about, which is on this side of the building. Do you want to check it out?
Yeah, let's go.
For the first time ever in the last couple of years, we started working with some professional ghost hunters. And when they first came in here in February of 2009, they wanted to know what were the rooms that were the most active. Now, amongst people who work here at night, okay, there's always people here. There's a security guard and 2 night cleaners. This is the room they talk about. He has had his night cleaners talking about this spot in the room. And it could be as simple as a sharp tap on the shoulder when you're alone in the room at 3 a.m. But it's always this spot in the room. Now, the tunnel here was designed to bring the heating pipes from the coal ovens in the stables complex into the main building. Now, amongst tourists, they mention the round room. Amongst psychics, they talk about the lady in white. Amongst people who work here at nighttime, Theo, they talk about the ghost of a little girl. Never seen, only heard in one place, and that's right down here. Some will say she's not speaking English, but it's always down here. Now, we brought our ghost hunters down here. They get far more readings off of this tunnel than they do from the main building. And they came up with a machine called an Ovulus. Now, it's basically like a random number generator, but it generates words instead of numbers. What happened was, we got to the lowest part of the tunnel, right where the other two are right up ahead of us here. And as we got there, we decided to turn off the lights. So no one ever sees the ghost of the little girl. They only hear her. The thing about it was, it started talking about me. What I mean is it started making references to a conversation I had with my wife 1 hour earlier. Some very specific stuff. This went on for about 3 minutes. Then we switched our lights back on. Now, at nighttime, there's often a little mist down here. That's not unusual. And there'd been a little bit of a mist when we first turned our lights off. When we turned our lights on, that little mist had completely enveloped us. I'm not making this stuff up. We couldn't see more than 6 feet away from us.
Theo, do you think it's creepy?
Definitely.
I'm not convinced it's haunted, but it was creepy. Let's go. And here's what I brought you to see. This statue was found buried in the backyard of the house next door. That was the home of the architect of this building. It's believed to be Asmodeus, the guardian of secrets, an old Masonic legend found in front of buildings that have some mystery or, otherwise secret about it. Now you can see it was broken into several pieces. We don't know how long it was buried. We don't even know if it was Lennox that buried it there. Maybe the statue was already buried in this hillside when Sir Henry bought the land. We don't know. Now, I don't know if this is supposed to be this Asmodeus. But if it is, then this is the obvious question. What's the secret it was guarding buried in the backyard of the house next door? It's a bit of a mystery.
It's a cool statue, how it's just found in someone's backyard, buried.
You think it's creepy?
It's kind of creepy that someone would go through all the work to bury something like that. And it's very possible that if anything here is haunted, it would be in that statue.
Casa Loma was a cool place. Had a creepy attic, some doors opened randomly. It's kind of creepy then, but we couldn't find any ghosts, but it sure felt like there should be one there.
My job was to look for ghosts at Mackenzie House. William Lloyd Mackenzie is one of Toronto's most famous ghosts, and we decided to see if his ghost would say hello.
Hello.
Well, I'm Ross. I'm from the York School. We're ghost hunters, and we're here for the tour.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Hi.
Welcome to Mackenzie House. My name is Danielle. I'll be your tour guide, and if you'd like to come in, we can have a look at where Mackenzie used to live.
Thank you.
So this is a portrait of William Lyon Mackenzie, and this was his final home. Mackenzie was the first mayor of Toronto, elected in 1834, and he was also the ringleader of the rebellion of 1837. So he is a celebrity of his period. People either loved him or hated him, but there were no middle opinions on him. And when he returned to Toronto after being exiled to the United States, he was given this house as a retirement gift, and he lived here for 2 years, dying in 1861. The lady over here is his wife, Isabel, who died 10 years later and not in the house. And the museum began really in the 1930s when it was the house was bought and donated to the city of Toronto.
Have there been any ghost sightings in this house?
In the 1950s and 60s, some of the caretakers who lived here claimed to have seen both the spirit of Mackenzie and a mysterious lady ghost.
What rooms in the house do most of the hauntings or ghost appearances happen in?
One of the caretaker couples who lived here claimed to have seen the spirit of Mackenzie pacing back and forth in his bedroom. The wife of the couple also claimed to have seen a lady with long dark hair appear in her bedroom one night. She even claimed that the ghost appeared a second time, leaned over the bed and slapped her. And this is where the story also becomes famous, because the Edmonds talked to the newspapers like the Toronto Telegram, and Mackenzie House instantly became notorious. People wanted to come and see the famous haunted house. It was controversial even then. People wondered, is it a hoax? Are they trying to do this for publicity? Or did these things really happen? So a little while later, they went to the final step, which was to have an exorcism. This is one of the few museums, surely, in the world that has had an exorcism performed here. A deacon from Trinity Church walked through and said prayers in every room. And it was actually done twice, and one time it was filmed by the CBC, who still owns the footage of the exorcism.
Do you believe in any of these ghost stories, or have you seen anything strange happening?
I'm not certain about it personally. I've never seen anything at Mackenzie House, but I don't discount other people's experiences, and other people certainly do believe that there are or have been ghosts at Mackenzie House.
Thank you so much for the tour.
No, you're very welcome, Ross, and thank you for coming.
We went back to the York School, gathered up the ghost hunting gear, and got ready to give our presentations, but it felt like we failed. We started out on a mission to find ghosts, and all we could have is a whole pile of videotape and a few parking tickets.
Before we gave up, we decided to make one last visit to St. Lawrence Market and meet Toronto's most notorious ghost hunter, Bruce Bell.
You guys from the York School?
Oh, yes.
Theo.
I'm Theo.
Hey, Theo.
Hi, Bruce.
How do you do?
Nice to meet
I'm the
you.
historian here at the market. And you want to hear about ghosts?
Yeah, I was hoping you could tell us some stories.
Oh, for sure. Come on in and I'll show you. Yeah, this is very interesting. A lot of people who come into St. Lawrence Market, they have no idea what they're looking at when they look up here. That is the old City Hall of the city. And it was built right on the water. All this would have been Lake Ontario. And it was built, back in 1844 when this was the lake. There were a lot of docks that were here, a lot of shipping. And that window up there, that is the old council chamber of the city of Toronto. So here it is. I mean, it's stuck right in the middle of the market. This big, beautiful market was built in 1900. And today it's still here. So it's a wonderful example of how you can preserve history and keep the ghosts together. But I want to show you something now that is really fascinating. It's scary. Lots of ghosts. So here we are in the basement of the old St. Lawrence Market, And what I'm going to show you something that no one ever gets to see. I'm going to take you right into the sub-basement of the old city hall, into the old prison of the city. And it's this old wall, that's all we see left of the old jail of Toronto. Now this is history. This is was built when the city hall was built in 1844. And every time you see a little piece of wood that's sticking out here, that's where a chain would have been. And the prisoners were chained to the wall. And a lot of these workers that work down here saying sometimes they can see these chains just moving with no one touching them.
Are there any ghosts down here?
Well, they say. You know, these workers that work down here, and especially the ones that come here at night, you know, when these lights are out and they have to come into the old fridges down here, you know, they hear people, you know, wailing and screaming and the chains rattling and doors opening and shutting. Because you have to realize, I mean, for 50 years, this was one of the main jails of the city. So you can imagine how many people, you know, lived and died down here. I mean, it's quite scary.
It is.
I want to show you something now that really is quite scary. The old mass grave of the city. Bum, bum, bum. This is St. James Park, and this old section of the park still belongs to St. James Cathedral. And they always say that way back in the 1800s, 1830s, there was a huge cholera epidemic that was all around the world. And cholera is a very quick killing disease. It comes from dirty water, but back then they didn't know what was killing all the people. And here in the town of York, as we were known back then, hundreds and hundreds of people were dying, and they didn't know what to do with all the bodies. So what they did is they buried them right here. And here there could be maybe 3,000 to 4,000 corpses of the victims of the great cholera epidemics that swept through Toronto in the 19th century. So that's why nothing ever grows here. It's just a bad patch of ground. And after a rainstorm, it's really mushy too. I mean, you can feel how very soft the ground is. And after a heavy rainstorm, little bits of bones still come to the surface.
Well, before you go, we wanted to know if you thought that either Fort York, Mackenzie House, or Casa Loma were haunted.
You know what? They're all haunted. You know why?
Why?
Because we're always walking on the shoulders of the dead. See you later.
Bye. Thank you very much. Hey, where'd he go?
Welcome, Ghost Hunters. Hope you had a good week. So what we're going to do is basically listen to each of your investigations, what you found, and then we will talk amongst ourselves as to where we go next. So we would like to call upon Ghost Hunter number 1 who went to Fort York. Could you please give us your report?
I went to Fort York, and there I found nothing. There were a variety of old buildings, but I didn't really find any ghosts. I don't think there's any ghosts there, but it's a very spooky place.
Okay, so overall, ghosts, do you think they're ghosts or no ghosts?
No.
Thank you very much.
Hello everybody, I went to Casa Loma to look for ghosts, and it's definitely a very creepy place, especially places like the tunnel where it's very dark, and also at this attic that wasn't very well lit and had creaky stairs. But we didn't find any ghosts there, and I have to say there's no ghosts in Casa Loma.
So, in your mind, Do you think there were any ghosts in Toronto?
No.
No ghosts?
Nope. We didn't find any dead people's spirits, but that's what we tried to do. And so I have to say there are no ghosts at Casa Loma or the rest of Toronto.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Ghost Hunter number 3, and I was supposed to look for ghosts in Mackenzie House. And so at Mackenzie House, we heard a lot of stories, like William Lloyd Mackenzie could be seen on the 2nd and 3rd floors just walking around. We didn't see anything really spooky at Fort York, and in Casa Loma, the only scary thing I can think of would be the tunnel. That was pretty creepy, and also in one of the rooms, a door suddenly opened. And so that's the only thing so we could see or got on camera. But I feel in every place we went, there's something, and it just connected with me and wrapped around me and held me whenever we went to someplace. And just, they were like ghosts, spirits were grasping me from every which way.
And you sure it wasn't your classmate?
I hope not, because that now sounds a little weird.
Do you believe yourself that ghosts exist or could exist?
I think there can ghosts, why not?
Okay. And I guess my final question would be, given the fact that we have been looking at the paranormal, do you believe that there is a ghost in the York School?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Well, you guys had a ghost hunter challenge, and you had to go out and go find a ghost, or at least look for a ghost. That's the challenge you asked for, that's a challenge we set up for you, and that's a challenge you did. So right now we're going to have a quick consultation about the outcome of your challenge, and we'll report back to you. I think they represented the school really well. I think they came together as a team. They're great filmmakers, and I think they gave it a shot. So for me personally, I think they executed everything they could possibly do. The ghost just didn't correspond by showing up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were skeptical of them going in, but looked at it with a scientific eye. I think they would have been open to it had there been something paranormal, and that they did their best to capture all of those places. So absolutely.
I feel good about getting the award.
All right, Ghost Hunter team. Myself, Justin, and Allison have considered your reports. We've also considered everything you've done over the last week, and we all think that even though you might not have brought back evidence of a ghost, you are phenomenal ghost hunters. You are a phenomenal group of filmmakers as well. And on behalf of the York School, you will get your IB in ghost hunting for the world, and we want to present you guys with the Ghost Hunter Cup. It's a little cup for you guys, and why don't you guys come up and get it? Yay, way to go, guys. Producer, Ross, on behalf of the team, here is your Ghost Hunter Cup. Boys, come on in. Maybe grab the picture.
Stop tickling me, so. Love it, everyone. Ghost Hunter Show!
All right.
What happens after you die? Is there another life, heaven or hell? Or does your spirit roam the earth forever, hoping to find a home? We wanted to find out. We never did find any ghosts, but we found stories about our city and the people who went before. It's not what we were hoping for, but second place isn't so bad. After all, it's our story that will survive and live on. Those will be the ghosts that will live at the York School.